Welcome to the latest episode of Lo-Fi Travel. The Vietnamese Women's Museum, Hanoi, Vietnam. Of the 20 plus museums in Hanoi, this is my favorite. It's very much a living museum, constantly showcasing community issues and outreach, and honoring living women of impact in the manner they deserve. The museum's permanent collection is divided into three permanent exhibits: Women in the Family, Women in History, and Women in Fashion. Women in the Family covers the roles normally played by women in different elements of Vietnamese society. Patriarchal and matriarchal marriage and social hierarchies are explained, as are birthing rituals and women's traditional economic roles as farmers, craftspeople, and educators. Women in History focuses on female resistance fighters and revolutionaries during the Indochina and Vietnam Wars, their experiences fighting and as prisoners of war. Women in Fashion displays ethnic dress and jewelry from many of Vietnam's ethnic minority groups, often personally given by the original owner along with its story. Traditional costume for big events like weddings is explained, as is the evolution of the ao dai, and examples of pre-colonial fashion are preserved, including the very oversized old-style bamboo hats and teeth lacquering accoutrements. As a little preview, let me share with you my 4 favorite items on display. First, my absolute favorite item in the museum is this ao dai by Ming Hai, dating from 2010. In my opinion, she is one of the best, if not the best, couturiers in Vietnam. This dress and the one she made for the ao dai Museum in Saigon are the 2 best contemporary ao dai designs I've ever seen. She does have a shop in Ho Chi Minh City where everything is one of a kind. So if you're ever there and have between $300 and $3,000 to blow on a special piece from Vietnam, do it. My second favorite piece is this back basket from the Ma tribe living in Lam Dong province near Dalat. There are only around 26,000 of them, so they're not a big group, but they're not dying out anytime soon. I often see women with back baskets like this in the mountains and always admire how lightweight, durable, and useful they are. I wonder if they could survive overhead compartments in airplanes, because I think they'd make really good carry-ons. My third and fourth favorite items are both Vietnam War related. First, this record of Vietnamese folk songs sold to fund the German anti-war movement. Its production was funded in 1968 by Lil Dagobah, the absolutely iconic German actress who is known best for her silent films from the 1920s and not at all recognized for her charity work, but actually had a 60-year-long career, funding this project at 81 and playing her last role at 91. There's a single original vinyl of this currently available from a German seller on Abe Books for just $30, but I don't have the time to wait for it in customs or a record player to play it on. Still, I'd love, love, love to hear what's on it. My fourth favorite item is this apron, worn by women protesting against the Vietnam War in New Zealand. Mourn that man has again descended into the baseness of war in Vietnam. Mourn! Print it on sweatshirts, weave it in cashmere. Just leave the space that says Vietnam blank so I can write the latest victim of America's forever wars on a piece of duct tape with a marker, stick it on, and switch it out as necessary. I'd wear this thing every day. If I were a big YouTuber, I'd sell it as merch. When did we as a society become so apathetic to soldiers dying miserably overseas for nothing? There's also a robust rotation of temporary exhibits, typically a photo essay with a few accompanying artifacts or artworks. Here's some examples of interesting past and current temporary exhibits. Memories from female civilian supporters of the Dien Bien Phu campaign, like 100-year-old Mrs. Lu Thi Doi, who shares, "In the beginning of 1954, I was assigned by Uncle Zap the task of leading an engineer corps to conduct a topographical survey in preparation for the Dien Bien Phu campaign headquarters and to mobilize local villagers to donate food to the campaign. After 5 months, the village head and I raised 9 tons of rice and 5 buffaloes." The founding of the Vietnamese women's liberation movement and its role in society according to Ho Chi Minh, who wrote explicitly in Vietnam's very first constitution that women are equal to men in all respects, who said that, quote, women must get rid of an inferiority feeling and dependence. They must have the will to be self-reliant and independent. They must keep raising their political, cultural, and professional knowledge. Women should not wait for the government and the party to issue instructions to liberate them. They have to be self-reliant to fight for themselves. Stories from the Peaceful Shelter Home for Women Trafficked Abroad. The center is not only a shelter, but they focus on training and community reintegration. I want to read them all, but I will limit myself to just one testimonial. Back home, I was offered 2 million dong, approximately $85, as financial support from the project on raising cattle for me to raise cows. My family has some farmland, some land for cassavas, vegetables, and fruit trees, and we are raising 3 cows. After receiving as support from the Peace House a sewing machine and an iron, I started to make clothes at home and then made clothes upon orders. I earned about 350,000 dong, about $15 per batch. I wish to save some money and buy an embroidering machine so that I can open a family business, end quote. And traditional worship of the Mother Goddess, a paramount figure in Vietnamese folk religion, in which the Mother Goddess is the supreme deity who has been reincarnated as 4 Mother Goddesses: heaven, earth, water, and mountains. The Hao Dong ritual is a theatrical ritual form wherein mediums incarnate the gods with characteristic facial expressions and movements in the sacred space of the ritual. Spectators listen to Kung Van music, recall stories of national heroes and heroines, and bring home offerings that were accepted by the temple on behalf of the deities and redistributed to attendant families and thought to bring really good luck. This museum is one I keep returning to because it's beautiful and I like to see what's new. They also have an excellent gift shop and decent restaurant on the premises. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.